Jack, I'm Dave.
I'm Matthew, and today I'm actually matching with this very bright orange 2.3 litre Ford Mustang.
That's right, it's the high-performance version that basically whistles rather than roars. Let's take a closer look. So what does the high-performance version of the Mustang mean? Virtually in any of the other lineup of Fords, this would be called the RS. So it's got the 2.3 litre turboed engine rather than naturally aspirated V8. Let's take a closer look at some of the changes. Much of the car you've already seen, you already know about the new look Mustang, so I won't go too far into that, but a few subtle changes. The front grille has been glossed out and also comes with the tri-bar pony. The front split has been blackened out, still very pointy, and just makes it look very aggressive. On the bonnet, the air scoops are there. They look very aesthetically pleasing, but they do actually work. There is some air getting into the engine from here, and look at these go faster stripes. This comes all the way around, but I love it. It really enhances the car. Round the side, 19-inch feet, and they're really chunky, big P0s on them. So much rubber to lay down to the ground. It is, you know, it's a performance vehicle after all. Again, performance fenders that are made of composite material rather than aluminium. And this new thing, they're actually bragging about the fact that it's a 2.3 litre rather than a V8. High performance, but you know, a bit of change to what, rather than hiding behind the fact that, oh no, it's not a V8. This is a performance vehicle. Lovely blacked out wing mirrors. This is the fastback, so it's, you know, got the nice Mustang slope to it. But also look at that orange. They call it twister orange, and wow, it just pops in this light. Round the rear, there's a slither of spoiler here. They call it a magnetic blade, but it's not magnetic, and I haven't cut myself, but it's really cool. The GT badge again has been replaced with the tri-bar pony. Quad exhausts that actually all work. And quite a big boot. Enough room for golf clubs, probably 2 of them, dead bodies, whatever it is. And also it's got a nice big subwoofer and also a space saver. Let's take a look under the bonnet. Ford have added 14 more kilowatts to this vehicle. It doesn't sound a lot, but the actual torque curve that they've got is actually 40% greater, which means the 0 to 100 is a lot quicker. The engine itself, the 2.3 litre turboed engine, 236 kilowatts, 448 newtons. Like I said, it's not quite got into the territory of the V8, but it's certainly getting close. And also sips fuel a little bit better than the V8 at 9.7 litres per 100. But it's got a small fuel tank, so you're still fully loaded is about 400 kilometers of range. Let's take a look on the inside. Matthew will show you around.
So as Dave just showed you with that outside, it's the instantly recognizable figure of the Ford Mustang, even with this new engine and in this unique color. And on the inside, it's much a similar story actually, with that instantly recognizable look coming through. We have this dashboard, which is covered in quite a bit of leather actually. Even down the center console here, there's a leather look material, if you like. Gear stick, very much sort of traditional Mustang style with the steel cover on the top. You get these buttons, which are really cool, and a hark back to the Mustang airplane. And of course the Mustangs of old. This time I'm talking about the Ford Mustangs. All these buttons have a bit of an aluminium sort of finish to them to give them that little touch of class, if you like, because the Ford Mustang has been a utilitarian sports car. It's been a muscle car for everyday use, so don't expect everything to be covered in, you know, diamonds and glass and posh leather. This is very much a usable car. Another part of this high performance package, if you like, is these really supportive Recaro seats. They aren't heated in this particular model, but that's an additional option that you can get. But I mean, when you're throwing this around corners and, you know, engaging in some spirited driving, as the manual would say, these are so useful in terms of keeping you in place, and even when you're going sideways, you won't be going sideways, but the car will be. As part of this 2.3 liter high performance model, Ford is starting to really own this new brand. So on the top of the dashboard there, you get a 2.3 liter badge along with the chassis number, which is kind of cool. And while we're looking at the top of the dashboard there, you also get a Bang & Olufsen 10 speaker 1000 watt audio system, which obviously uses that massive subwoofer that Dave pointed out in the boot. Materials around are a bit scratchy in general, but again, it's okay because the Mustang is an everyday muscle car, and that's why it has been so successful, because you can use it, you don't have to worry about getting it dirty or getting your muddy boots in it, but you can still take it to the drag strip at the weekend and win a few races. Even though you don't get sort of trim flashes of orange in here because the outside of the car is orange, when you start the car up, the dashboard flashes in orange according to the body color. All the gauge clusters have a sort of orange downlining to them to remind you of the brightly colored car that you are driving. The steering wheel feels great to hold. It's nice and big and has a good, 60s muscle car style feel to it. Of course, there's nothing 60s about the fact that it's got all the buttons you need right here, and including the controls to Ford's famous Sync 3 system. But I mean that you probably know all about this infotainment screen and all these other systems in here, and I'm not going to attempt that perilous task of getting into the back seat, but this is the high performance model. It's a turbo Mustang. Let's take it for a drive and see how it handles.
This is the Mustang RS, so high performance, using the engine that they've got from, well, the 2.3 litre engine that they've got in their high performance vehicles, and thrown into, arguably one of their sportiest cars they've ever produced. One of them, anyway.
Certainly one of their most iconic in that sense, and I guess putting this sort of engine in the Mustang was, as we know, controversial, but if you look back at the Mustang's history, actually, the very first Mustang was also offered with a V8 option as well as a V6 option, so they aren't really changing things that much, if you like.
Yeah, good point, actually, really good point. There is something to be said about a V8 matching with the Mustang, I get that, and there is, I don't know, half of me goes, this is the future, this is the way things are going. Look at all the high performance sports cars now with 3 cylinders and massive turbos and things like that. So, inevitably Ford Performance had to go that way. But there is something about the V8 growl that has to come with the iconic Mustang.
That's true, there's no denying that, but if you're fine with having that bit of turbo whistle, everything else is sort of very historic and very Mustang-y, if you like.
Mustang-y. You and your words.
We keep on inventing new words every review, but that's us, right? Across the interior, it's very much a hark back through all the generations, frankly, of Mustangs. The way everything is laid out, and the switches, which are like a fighter jet switches, or even the digital cluster, frankly, has got the 2 speedometer and the rev meter on either side, and then a little bit of space in between.
From a driver's point of view, it's a great drive. I mean, there's a reason why it's Ford's most popular sports car, and it's just that big long bonnet, that coupe styling, the fact that we don't care about the back seat. It's just all going on. It's just a lovely drive. Less weight in the front means it does handle that little bit better. The nose isn't so heavy, but on the whole, it's a great fun drive.
And when you're sitting in this, even though it can feel a little bit cramped in here because that roof is low and there's not that much of light coming in here, you do very much feel like you're sitting in what is a large car.
Twister orange, who knew? Twister, I love it. The 10-speed box is great. I mean, it gives you so many options, and also even with the normal turbo lag that will come in, I mean, there's very little here. You've got enough gears to get in and out of a corner without a big thrust and throwing you around, so that's really good. 0 to 100 comes in at around the 5-second mark, which is great, and it's just a performance car.
It certainly is. And when you're, I guess, a bit tired of listening to that 2.3-liter turbo through the exhaust, and you can have that louder when you move the car into sport mode, you can turn to the 10-speaker Bang & Olufsen audio system, which sounds great in this little cabin. The acoustics just fit well.
It's just the fact that they're finally proud of having their 2.3-liter engine badge on the car, and quite rightly so.
It is definitely nothing to be ashamed of. It's a powerful engine, and even though this is a big car, they've done all the modifications necessary to make it very tight in corners and just handle great in general, and the sound as well. You don't feel like that's lacking in any department, frankly, and it's really nice to see the 2.3-liter badges everywhere, and the little chassis number and all that pomp and show. That's part of Mustang culture, if you like. It's all there.
The brakes have been further cooled and the rear axle has been changed, but on the whole, it's the same Mustang you have all become, I don't know, you know and love, and that's a good thing.
And I guess what Dave is saying there is those ingredients that have made the Mustang so successful in the past, they're all here. It's just that the engine is different, but different is good, right?
Do you miss the V8 roar?
I've got to say, when I came to this in the morning, I did miss it a little bit, but after a while you kind of enjoyed this. It's a different experience, that's for sure.
It is, and there's plenty of oomph under the bonnet. So there you have it, the 2.3-liter Mustang High-Performance. Is it a great car? I believe it is.
It sure is, and even though there's a major change with the engine, it's still got that Mustang cool factor that it's had for all these years. Nothing's changed about that. So test drive one and you know you'll love it.
Thanks for watching.
We'll see you next time, and there's plenty more to come from us.
See you.